Chapter 99. Kisahel and Sethlehem and the army of the children of the lowlands. And the two thanked Abidan with a heart full of love for this great commission, and proceeded forthwith to their destination. On their way they passed through Adam's cave, so as to arrive sooner at their destination. When, beyond the cave, they had already covered half the distance, they saw the spies posted by Lamech's commander, and these promptly called out to those nearest to them, "Give a message instantly to him who carries out the will of our great god Lamech, that two unusually tall men are approaching our camp going along the height. We do not know what to do in this case. Shall we dare to take them on, or let them advance unhindered? They seem to be exceedingly strong, for with every step they are taking, the earth trembles noticeably, and the closer they come, the worse every one of their steps affects us." When the commander received the message, he took great fright, not knowing what to do just then. When he could again think clearly, he had the spies and advance posts informed to let the two advance unhindered, then quickly surround them, and thus captive, bring them to him. This urgent order was speedily relayed to the spies, and before the emissaries entered the morning region, 1,000 men from the lowlands that were armed with long spears already surrounded them. They, seeing that these two tall men did not resist going with them as prisoners, although the earth mightily trembled under each of their steps, began to provoke the two emissaries through all sorts of insults and discouraging remarks in use in the lowlands, in about these words: "Listen, you two great cowardly lumps of flesh. How is your monster Adam and your old worm-eaten Jehovah? How many of these lumps of flesh are there on this lightful height? Why are you so afraid of us, much smaller, but nevertheless true men, for your feverish lump of flesh to transmit its fear even to the earth? Oh, do not be afraid, you two big lumps of flesh, for the worst evil to befall you will be the cutting off of one finger after another, followed by the hands, then the feet, then your tongue will be torn out, then the nose, then the ears, then the eyes, after which the head will be slowly sawn off from the rest of the lump of flesh. Look, this is all that will surely happen to you, wherefore you need not have such great fear. For this will be anyway carried out very slowly, out of consideration for you, so that in between your pains you may rest and prepare yourselves for a subsequent greater pain. Look how good our intentions towards you are, but you still seem to be in terrible fear of us. Just remember that your torture will hardly last more than 3 days, and your fear will at once leave you." At these words, one of the main comforters advanced on Kisahel to stab him maybe in the arm, so as to instill through the resulting pain even more fear into him, following his words of consolation. No sooner had this comforter touched with his spear Kisahel's arm than the latter emitted fire, which instantly consumed the whole spear and, finally, seized also the comforter and reduced him to ashes. This incident so impressed our armed troop that all those who were to lead our 2 emissaries to the commander as prisoners promptly dispersed in all directions. Had not some benevolent giant tigers obstructed their retreat to the lowlands, they would have fled there immediately. 3 leaders of the first troop then quickly rushed to the commander and, trembling all over, told him what had happened and entreated him not to use any force against them nor to touch them with anything, for they were full of the most devastating fire. Wherever it touched anything, it was instantly and completely destroyed. This report instilled also the commander with such respect before the approaching 2 emissaries, that on their arrival he promptly prostrated himself and began to salute and welcome them, even from afar, saying, "O you great, fire-bearing, holy messengers of some surely even greater God than our miserable god Lamech in the lowlands, I welcome you as much as there is grass on the earth, and sand in all the great and small waters on the surface of the earth. Would it please you to inform me, but from some distance, if my worm-like lowliness be permitted to entreat your fiery majesty for this, what sublime, holy will has induced you to let yourselves be carried on your holy feet to my depravity?" But Kisahel, instead of answering the silly question, promptly called the commander by his name, saying, "Horadol, it is the Lord's will that you rise, accompany and follow us with your whole army up to the sacred height, there to confess your crime before the living, eternal, visible God, the sole creator and sustainer of all things, and before Adam, who is the first man out of the hand of the Almighty God." This invitation reduced Horadol almost to despair, so that he stood there like one beside himself, unable to utter a word. But Sethlehem stepped up to him and, grasping his hand, said in a somewhat gentler tone to him, "Horadol, why do you fear to become alive, having walked without fear for such a long time in the midst of death? I tell you in the name of him who sent us here, that his love is greater than Lamech's wrath. Therefore, do what my brother asks you to do." Only after these words did Horadol become himself again, and promptly did according to Kisahel's bidding. That is, he followed Kisahel and Sethlehem with bag and baggage and arms.